Story is Giant Pandas by Gail Gibbons. Misty, thick clouds hang over the mountains. A large black and white animal makes its way through a bamboo forest. It is a giant panda. Giant pandas live in the mountains of China. Here's China, and the red spots are where the giant pandas live today. This yellow spot is where they used to live. It's much smaller today. The Chinese people call the giant panda Da Jiang Mao, meaning big bear cat. It looks like a bear and it has long claws like a cat. Giant pandas are members of the bear family. Adult giant pandas are about 4 to 5 feet long and normally weigh about 200 pounds. Most of the time they move slowly, but if they want to, they can move at a fast trot. Their bodies are very flexible. The fur of a giant panda is thick, coarse, and oily. To keep the panda's body warm and dry, the fur is about 2 inches long. Giant pandas have poor eyesight, but they have excellent sense of smell and hearing. In fact, pandas are hard to find in the wild because they can hide when it is their smell or they hear people coming. And normally, giant pandas are shy and tend to stay by themselves. And when they want to communicate with one another, they use about 11 different kinds of sounds. They bark, growl, squeal, and they even make other sounds that can mean different things. Giant pandas also communicate by leaving their scent to tell other pandas that they're in the area. They do this by rubbing smelly liquid from their glands under their tails onto rocks or other trees. Thousands of years ago, giant pandas ate only meat, but over time their diet changed and now it's mostly plants, mainly bamboo. Occasionally they will eat grass, roots, vines, honey, and sometimes they do go back to meat, but they really love bamboo. Oh, but bamboo, though, is the best. And because bamboo is not very nutritious, giant pandas must spend between 10 and 16 hours every day eating. Oh my goodness. They must do this in order to stay strong and healthy. The average panda eats about 27 pounds of bamboo each day. Giant pandas have 5 claws on each of their paws, and they also have a special thumb on their front paws. They use their thumbs and claws to grasp the bamboo. Giant pandas use their big teeth and powerful jaws to crush and eat the bamboo stalks. They also use it to eat the leaves. Now, giant pandas can be playful and athletic. They do somersaults and they climb trees quite easily, actually. Also, giant pandas can swim, holding their heads above water while they paddle with their legs. Giant pandas don't have a regular sleeping place. They sleep on the ground, at the base of a hollow tree, or wherever and whenever they feel tired. They sleep for 2 to 4 hours at a time. Now, male and female giant pandas come together to mate in the spring. And after mating, the male goes off on his own. The female makes a bed of bamboo twigs and grasses in the cave, or along the rocks, or in a hollow tree. This place is called their den. In the autumn, about 5 months later, the mother panda gives birth to 1 or 2 babies called cubs. Immediately after giving birth, she begins nursing one of the cubs. A mother will raise only 1 cub at a time, and only one will survive in the natural habitat. Mothers usually give birth 1 to 2, or maybe even every 3 years. A cub is very small. It only weighs about 3 ounces and is about 6 inches long. The mother is about 900 times larger than her cub, and it's amazing to see how gentle she can be. The cub has pink skin all over and some fuzzy white fur. Its cry sounds like a human baby, and the mother holds her cub almost all of the time. She won't leave to get food for herself for about 1 week after the cub is born. In about 40 days, the cub opens its eyes for the first time. It has its black and white markings, and it's still helpless. And so when the mother wants to move her cub, she gently picks it up by its neck and carries it from place to place. At about 4 months old, the cub is able to crawl. At 7 months old, the cub can run and climb trees. It weighs about 20 pounds now, and it has learned how to eat bamboo. In about 2 years old, the young panda weighs about 120 pounds, and it has learned that all it can do from its mother. Now it is time for the young panda to go off on his own. In another 2 years, it will be able to have its own young. Now, over the years, the number of giant pandas has become smaller and smaller because of the destruction of their natural habitat. By people, the accidental deaths set by for other animals, and the hunting of pandas for their fur. Because of their size, adult giant pandas have very few natural enemies. Really, it's just people that pandas have to worry about. Around the 1900s, there were about 65,000 giant pandas living in the world. Today, there are less than 1,000. And the people of China are trying to protect them. They have set aside large areas called reserves where the giant panda can live safely. Also, it is a crime to harm or even kill a panda. In China and a small number of other countries, scientists are trying to help increase the population of the giant panda. These pandas are cared for in captivity, and the scientists try to encourage the pandas to give birth and to care for their cubs. And when the young giant pandas are capable of living on their own, some of them are released back into the wild and the natural reserves in China. But still, some will stay in zoos if they're not ready to go into the wild. Now, whenever there are giant pandas in the zoo, people love to come and see them. They look like big, chubby, black and white teddy bears, and they are very playful. And it is so much fun watching them. Giant pandas are one of the rarest and most appealing animals